The world of relationships is a battlefield camouflaged under the sweet word love. People dress it in roses, music, and candlelight. But if you strip away the romantic illusions, what remains is a war of power, control, and survival. Most men never understand this brutal reality. They believe that if they are good enough, kind enough, or loyal enough, they will win a woman's heart. But the truth is harsh. Loyalty is boring, kindness is predictable, and availability is weakness. Why? Because human psychology is wired in paradoxes. What is too easily available loses value. What is too stable becomes invisible. What is too caring is interpreted as neediness. And this is where the ancient wisdom of Niccolò Machiavelli collides with the modern dating world. Machiavelli, a man who studied power, deception, and the true nature of people, never wrote about Tinder or Instagram, but if he were alive today, his cold principles would explain exactly why the players win and the nice guys lose. There is a dangerous mantra whispered in the dark corners of dating advice forums, but it is as old as power itself. Don't chase her. Detach. Ignore her sometimes. Make her insecure. Make her prove her worth to you. Most men dismiss this as manipulation. They call it cruel, toxic, or immoral. But morality is a luxury for those who already hold power. For everyone else, morality is a prison. Machiavelli warned in The Prince, men are ungrateful, fickle, liars, deceivers. They shun danger and are greedy for gain. While you serve their interest, they are yours entirely. But when you are no longer useful, they will turn against you. A woman's loyalty is rarely about you. It is about the value you project, the emotional storm you create, and the scarcity you represent. The man who clings too tightly suffocates her desire. The man who detaches creates an aura of mystery, and mystery is fuel for attraction. But here's the dark twist. While many try to play this game, very few survive it, because detachment, when done poorly, becomes cold rejection. Ignoring her without timing turns into disrespect. Playing too many games exposes your desperation. This script will not glorify the player life blindly. Instead, it will strip it open like a surgeon dissecting a corpse, exposing its strengths, its weaknesses, and its psychological cost. If you want comfort, stop reading. If you want truth, the kind of truth that stings, cuts, and then awakens, stay with me. Detachment is not about pretending you don't care. It is about weaponizing scarcity. Think of value like oxygen. When there is too much of it, no one notices. But when it is scarce, people panic, chase, and fight for it. Women, consciously or unconsciously, test men constantly. These tests are not random. They are instinctive mechanisms to measure strength, confidence, and leadership. When a man overreacts, explains too much, or seeks validation, he fails. When he remains composed, slightly indifferent, almost untouchable, she feels a deep, primal pull. This is not about cruelty, it's about signaling, I am not desperate. I have options. My world doesn't revolve around you. Now, why does this trigger attraction? Because biology is merciless. For millions of years, women survived by choosing men who had resources, status, and emotional control. A man who was too available signaled weakness. A man who could walk away signaled abundance. This is why detachment works, not as a trick, but as a psychological projection of value. The Machiavellian logic. Behind it, Machiavelli taught rulers never to be too generous, too kind, or too predictable. It is much safer to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Replace feared with respected in dating, and you see the exact mirror. If she does not respect you, her attraction will die. Detachment creates this respect because it injects uncertainty. She doesn't fully own you. She can't fully predict you. That slight anxiety keeps her investing more and more. But the danger is real. Push detachment too far and you look cold, arrogant, or uninterested. That is when she walks away. The art lies in balancing warmth with distance, presence with mystery, affection with silence. Psychological breakdown 1. Scarcity bias. When something is rare, its perceived value multiplies. 2. Intermittent reward system. If you give attention sometimes and withdraw at other times, the brain gets addicted. This is the same principle casinos use to keep gamblers hooked. 3. Status signal. Detachment projects that you are not needy. And in psychology, the less needy person always holds the power. This is why the player thrives. He doesn't always respond instantly. He doesn't reveal his full emotions. He lets her chase, doubt, and wonder. Most men suffocate women with constant validation. The player lets silence do half the talking. The hidden cost of attachment. Now let's flip the coin. What happens when a man does the opposite? When he attaches too strongly, too quickly. He texts too much. He tries to reassure her constantly. He invests before she invests. He apologizes for small things. He waits for her approval. To the untrained man, this looks like love. But to the female psychology, it screams weakness. And weakness never seduces, it repels. Women may enjoy the attention temporarily, but deep down, their desire evaporates. They may keep him as a backup, as a provider, as an emotional pillow, but never as the man they crave at night. This is the cruel truth. Attachment without mystery kills desire. Detachment as a sword and a shield. Detachment, therefore, is not just a game. It is survival. It protects you from desperation. It keeps your frame strong. It prevents you from begging for validation. But it is also a weapon. Used strategically, it makes her chase, question, and prove her worth. The man who understands this becomes dangerous because he can control the tempo of attraction without ever raising his voice. This is why the mantra works. Don't chase her. Don't always answer. Don't reveal your heart too quickly. It's not about being heartless. It's about being disciplined. Machiavelli would say, a man who becomes master of his emotions becomes master of others. And in dating, the man who can remain calm, detached, and focused on his own mission will always be more magnetic than the man who drowns in his emotions. The whisper of a dangerous truth. In every crowded room, in every marketplace of modern life, there exists an invisible war. A war not fought with guns or swords, but with desire, attention, and control. Most men never realize they are combatants in this war. They step onto the battlefield unarmed, believing the fairy tale that love is pure, that kindness will be rewarded, and that vulnerability is strength. But there are others, silent predators who know the truth. They know that human beings, especially in the chaos of dating, are not drawn to kindness. They are drawn to what they cannot fully possess. They are drawn to mystery, power, and distance. This truth has been whispered for centuries, but one man carved it into doctrine, Niccolo Machiavelli. His words were never meant for the faint-hearted. They were meant for those who wanted power, even in the battlefield of intimacy. Today, you will not hear a love story. You will hear a strategy. You will not learn how to be adored. You will learn how to be irresistible. Because in dating, just as in politics, the one who controls perception controls the outcome. And the mantra you are about to hear is simple, yet terrifying in its consequences. Show less love than you receive. Make them want more. Part 1. the mantra of power in intimacy. Let us begin by dissecting the mantra itself, word by word. Show less love than you receive. At first, this feels wrong. Isn't love supposed to be mutual, balanced, fair? Isn't love supposed to be about giving? That is the fairy tale. That is the lie society feeds you so you remain predictable, controllable, exploitable. In truth, the person who invests less, the person who gives slightly less love, always holds the upper hand. Why? Because imbalance creates pursuit. Imagine a scale. On one side, your love. On the other side, their love. If you show slightly less, the scale tips in their favor. They lean in, they chase, they crave your validation. If you show more, the scale tips against you. They grow lazy, entitled, and eventually bored. Human beings do not value what comes too easily. They only hunger for what is scarce. This is not cruelty, it is mathematics of the soul. The psychology of scarcity. Think of the last time you desperately wanted something, a job, a rare item, a person's attention. Did you want it because it was abundant and freely available? Or did you want it because it felt rare, fleeting, almost out of reach? Scarcity fuels desire. It is the same principle that makes diamonds valuable and water ignored, even though water is essential for life. In dating, your love is the diamond. If you give it away too easily, it becomes water, taken for granted. This is why Machiavelli's principle is brutal but brilliant. Never allow your love to feel common. By giving less, you make your affection scarce, and by making it scarce, you make it irresistible. Make them want more. The second half is the dagger. It transforms mere restraint into strategy, because withholding love is not enough. If you withdraw too much, they may walk away. The art is in giving just enough to ignite desire, then pulling back to let them burn. It is the rhythm of tension and release. Give them a taste. Withdraw. Let their imagination fill the void. Return briefly, with affection. Withdraw again. Each cycle deepens the hunger. Each silence makes your voice more valuable when you finally speak. Each absence turns your presence into a drug. They are no longer just with you, they are addicted to you. Dating as chess, not poetry. Most men treat dating as poetry. They confess, they declare, they pour their heart out in verses of desperate love. But the wise man treats dating as chess. Every move calculated, every silence deliberate, every gesture carrying meaning. Do you think the player archetype succeeds because of charm alone? He succeeds because he understands timing and imbalance. He knows when to give a compliment and when to withhold one. He knows when to respond instantly and when to wait. Each decision is not random, it is strategy. And that strategy is rooted in Machiavelli's principle. Power belongs not to the one who loves the most, but to the one who reveals the least. The trap of overinvestment. Here is the greatest danger most men fall into. They overinvest too early. A man meets a woman, feels attraction, and instantly begins pouring out attention, gifts, time, and energy. He believes this will win her. In reality, it suffocates her. Why? Because his love is now predictable. It is no longer a prize, but a guarantee. And guarantees never inspire passion. They inspire complacency. Think of the difference between a flame and a fireplace. A flame dances unpredictably. It flickers, disappears, reappears. You lean closer, desperate for warmth. A fireplace burns endlessly, predictably, the same every night. Eventually, you stop noticing it. Machiavelli would tell you, be the flame, not the fireplace. Love as leverage. Now we must say something uncomfortable. Love itself is not the goal. Love is leverage. In every relationship, whether romantic or political, the person who is loved less always has more power. Why? Because they can walk away. They can withhold. They can dictate the terms. The person who loves more lives in fear, fear of abandonment, fear of losing the other, fear of rejection. And fear is the soil where manipulation grows. This is why you must always be the one who loves less, or at least shows less. It doesn't mean you feel nothing. It means you control what you reveal. Because in the theater of dating, what is felt is irrelevant. What is shown is everything. The mask of indifference. Machiavelli taught that a ruler should always wear a mask, the mask of virtue, the mask of compassion, even when his heart was filled with ruthlessness. In dating, you must also wear a mask, the mask of indifference. This does not mean being cold or cruel. It means never showing the full extent of your feelings. Smile, laugh, enjoy, but keep a piece of yourself hidden. Let them sense that you are never fully captured, never fully theirs. Because as long as they believe there is more to uncover, more to win, they will keep chasing. The day they believe they own you completely is the day desire begins to die. The modern battlefield. Today, dating apps, social media, and endless options have turned relationships into markets of attention. Everyone is competing, everyone is distracted, everyone is replaceable. In this chaos, kindness alone is invisible. Generosity alone is ignored. But scarcity cuts through the noise. The man who shows less love, who responds less often, who keeps his time scarce, becomes valuable. He becomes the flame in a world of fireplaces. This is not cynicism. This is survival. Because in a market of abundance, only scarcity holds power. The first law of Machiavellian romance. If we were to condense this entire philosophy into a law, it would be this: do not give your heart too quickly. Let them earn every piece of it. Each glance, each word, each moment of affection must feel like a privilege. Not a right, not a guarantee, a privilege. This is the essence of power in intimacy, making love feel earned, not given. Throughout the history of civilization, countless philosophers have tried to explain human nature. Some dressed it up with morality, others with religion, and many with false ideals of kindness and virtue. But there was one man who stripped all illusions away, who dared to reveal the human soul in its raw, unfiltered, and merciless reality. That man was Niccolo Machiavelli. Born in Renaissance Italy, a time of betrayal, assassinations, shifting alliances, and endless wars, Machiavelli was not just a thinker. He was an observer, a survivor, and a chronicler of power itself. He understood the truth most people refuse to accept. Humans are not guided by love or morality. They are driven by fear, desire, and self-interest. Ideals versus reality. For centuries, people have been told lies about love and loyalty. We were raised to believe that true love is selfless. Loyalty is eternal. Good people are rewarded. But Machiavelli laughed at such illusions. He wrote with cold precision. Men are ungrateful, fickle, liars, and deceivers. They shun danger and are greedy for profit. While you serve them, they are yours. They offer you their blood, their property, their lives, and their children. But only as long as the danger is remote. When it approaches, they turn against you. Now pause and think. Doesn't this apply perfectly to modern relationships? How many promises are made in moments of comfort only to be broken at the first sign of difficulty? How many lovers say, "I'll never leave you," yet walk away the moment their needs are no longer met? Machiavelli was not describing kings alone. He was describing the core of human behavior. Power in relationships. In The Prince, Machiavelli outlined how rulers maintain power. But if you read carefully, you'll realize the same strategies rule the world of intimacy, dating, and attraction. One of his most infamous lines, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." Translated into the world of love, this means, if you seek to be only adored, only cherished, only loved, you risk being taken for granted, discarded, forgotten. But if you hold power, if you command respect through strength, detachment, and boundaries, you cannot be easily ignored. This is why so many people chase the one who is unavailable. Why the aloof, mysterious, emotionally distant partner seems more attractive than the one who is endlessly available and eager to please. It's not just psychology, it's Machiavellian law. Fear versus love. Love is fragile. It changes with time, with moods, with circumstances. Fear, however, is stable. Respect born of strength is not easily erased. In relationships, this does not mean cruelty. It means not giving away your entire soul for free, not begging for affection, not collapsing your identity just to keep someone close. Machiavelli understood the paradox. People may desire love, but they obey power. The man or woman who is slightly distant, who holds their ground, who is not desperate, automatically triggers respect. The opposite? The one who clings, who sacrifices too much, who exposes every weakness, becomes disposable. Loyalty is conditional. One of Machiavelli's most brutal observations. Men are bound by obligations as long as it serves their advantage, but they break them whenever it becomes convenient. Think of how often this plays out in love. How many times has someone claimed eternal devotion, yet walked away for someone more exciting, richer, or simply newer? It is not always malice. It is simply human nature. Desire seeks novelty. Loyalty bends under pressure. Promises are only as strong as the benefits behind them. This is why Machiavelli insisted, do not depend on loyalty, depend on control. In modern terms, do not assume love will last just because it feels strong today. Do not assume someone will stay simply because they once said they would. Protect your value, your strength, your independence, because without these, you invite betrayal. Modern dating equals modern power game. Let's pull this into the 21st century. Look at dating apps, social media, the endless flood of choices. What do you see? People swiping not for love, but for options. Promises exchanged today, broken tomorrow. Attachment not based on devotion, but on utility. What do I gain from this person? It's pure Machiavelli in digital form. Every profile, every match, every relationship is a negotiation of power. Why do people ghost? Because it costs them nothing. Why do people chase the unavailable? Because scarcity creates value. Why do people leave when someone becomes too desperate? Because desperation signals weakness. The cold truth is this: love, in its modern form, is not about forever. It's about leverage. The prince and the player. Here is where Machiavelli's world collides with today's dating culture. The prince is the ruler who must keep subjects loyal. The player is the modern man or woman who must keep attention, attraction, and control in a world of infinite options. Both face the same dilemma. If you are too kind, you will be exploited. If you are too cruel, you will be hated. The art lies in balance, to appear loving while holding power, to appear giving while never being weak. This is why some people seem to command endless admiration without effort. They have mastered the Machiavellian stance: half warmth, half distance, half affection, half control. The brutal clarity. Machiavelli did not promise comfort, he promised clarity. He forced us to see what we often try to deny: people's love is conditional. Loyalty lasts only until it no longer serves. The one who holds power defines the terms of love. And so the question becomes, do you want to live as the desperate lover, always begging for scraps of affection? Or do you want to stand as the prince, respected, desired, but never controlled? The choice, Machiavelli would say, determines everything. Most people will scroll away because truth terrifies them, but you stayed till this point. That means your mind is different. You crave what others fear, so prove it. Subscribe now, because the next chapter will go even darker. And if you understood even a fragment of this philosophy, leave a like. That small act tells the algorithm you are awake, and not another sheep lost in the herd.